Hi guys, I'm live. How you guys doing? I'm out on the big chair in the living room, and I'm just completely transparent with my process with you guys. Is why I'm going live. I just want to update my process with you guys by going live. Um, uh, I talked with the moderator yesterday about the gig. I mean, about the studio gig, and I went through an interesting process with it. I'm allowed to say it's gonna be a paid gig for me, I think, but I'm not supposed to say how much. I won't, but I actually will get extra money from the studio gig, which I kind of need right now. But that's not the big deal. The big deal is my musical progress and the recordings itself, which I want to talk about. So the matter is serious about recording, and it did a weird thing to me. It got me scared of playing. I mean, I got scared for a second. I got scared of how good I'll do, and I don't usually get scared about my playing, but I did, and it lasted. I don't know, about since last night to tonight, so maybe a day. But it was an interesting process working through that fear. I did a jam this morning where I was kind of in fear when I did that jam. But I pushed through it anyway. I just played anyway. And and by the way, before I finish this anecdote or whatever I'm doing, I read the lyrics, read 4 song lyrics this morning, and those are all I have now. That's all I have. So the ones I've read to you are what I'm using for new material. So hope you like them. But back to the story, back to the main story. I worked through the fear of playing, and I worked through it alone. I didn't call him. I didn't seek any outside intervention or help. Just worked through it. How do I feel about being afraid of my playing and all that? But it came to a good point when, on my walk, as usual, that's when they happen. It hit me that quick that I know I can do alternate picking. And let me explain that. It went from being a master to being a servant to me. But what I mean by that is I've always had to struggle with alternate. I've always had to just do alternate picking constantly. Like, I'm working on it. I'm perfecting it. I'm getting better at it. I'm mastering it. But when I just realized, just like that, I can do alternate picking, I can use it when I want to as a tool, and I can stop using it when I don't want to. And this matches the moderator's standard, which is a high standard of he just likes me to do flourishes of speed, but not just play speed constantly, but yet be able to play those flourishes. And that's a high standard. That's equivalent to, like, in picking terms, that's equivalent to saying I need to master alternate picking so I can make a tool out of it, so I can do a flourish when I want to and then stop. But yet I know I did that flourish well, and I did it when I wanted to, and I wanted to do it. And then I did a second jam since this morning when I got home from my walk. I went home. I went in and did another jam, and that was with this new confidence that I have in my alternate picking, which I think it took being afraid first of my playing to get to that point. I needed to feel fear. I needed to pay a price for it. It couldn't just come to me just freely. And that's when I showed this new alternate picking confidence. This is my last jam. I called it Unreal Tescriel, that new jam I just did. I was able to just do flourishes with a picking and then go back to stopping and not doing that and just playing slower or expressing myself or playing melodically or slowly, and then go back to a flourish if I want to. And that finally, I think I finally am ready for the studio gig but it took being afraid first. And I had to take a step back and be afraid, and then come forward with a new breakthrough and a new level. I rose to a new level because of the fear I had. It was make or break, and to break the fear, I broke to another level with alternate picking. So I'm ready. I finally feel like I'm ready to record. I mean, sure, I'm always going to be slightly afraid. That's natural. It's normal human emotion, but I'm not really afraid. I'm ready to play. And a couple things I learned from talking to him last night, which I'll share with you guys as well. I learned that I trust him as a producer. I trust him because I know he knows his stuff. It came to me when he was talking about electronics, and I realized he really knows what he's doing. So I trust him as a producer. And then the next thing is I'm ready to check my ego at the door. I'm not going to walk in the studio with ego. That's not what studio musicians do. They check their ego at the studio door and come in and make the music. I think I'm finally ready to do that too. Check my ego at the door, respect the moderator as producer, and record. I think I'm ready. And I have the alternate picking under my belt, and I dealt with fear, and got through it, and that's my process. I think I'm okay, and it finally is a relief to know that I can do a flourish and then quit. That I don't have to be a slave to alternate picking, where I just have to do it constantly. Like I'm always struggling to master it. I can finally just do it and then not do it. Yet I can do it. So thank you, moderator, for all those, incentives and upgrades to my playing that the conversation inspired. I had to get afraid first. You have to pay a price for something. You have to suffer to get something good out of something. You can't just. And that was my suffering. I was afraid for like a whole day, but didn't tell anybody. I just worked through it. So that's good. I hope you like my lyrics. We got about 50 songs or so lyric wise. And then I have a lot of that. I have examples of music I put to it on my channel, or we can just start over and just write music to it as at the moment. And not only that, we can choose which lyrics we want to work with. And I'm going to start with, we're going to start with the I Hate Iran song. That's the song we're doing for the guy that owns the studio in honor of him. So I'm going to start with that one. I'm going to bone up on it, make sure I got it all under my belt and ready to record. The rest is just lyrics and ready to record and play and write music. So I think that's it. I think that's what I wanted to say. I'm just transparent about my process. Anyway, I love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.